none of you were ready to make a commitment to any candidate in November, please raise your hand right now if you're now ready to make a commitment after today.
CNN spoke with undecided voters following Kamala Harris's acceptance speech to see if they have finally decided. So these are voters that are in Pennsylvania, and a lot of them are actually union voters, interestingly enough. And I don't know how they find these people. Like, how do you find undecided voters now? But here they are. And have they decided? Well, I have a few clips to play, including, we'll get to this one guy in the panel who is just incredible. But here's the first clip.
I gave her a B+.
B.
B+.
A.
B+.
A.
A.
C.
C. So mostly A's and B's with one C. I want to ask you why you made the decision you made. First of all, we start with Scott, who is the president of the UAW local here in the Lehigh Valley. Scott, what grade did you give it again?
B+.
How come?
I gave her the high grade because I thought she looked very confident. I liked how she spoke from her heart. I liked her message of unity and the division that we have in America. I like her fight for the middle class and families. The reason I didn't give her an A was I thought she needed to go into a little more detail on some of her plans, of how she would, do some of the things that she envisioned.
Okay, Lindsay, you're in sales. You're the person who wasn't sure she was going to vote for anybody because you don't like either of these two candidates. I'll ask you more about that in a minute, but first, what grade did you give the speech?
I gave it a B.
How come?
I thought it was a good speech. I mean, she did what she was supposed to do. I liked that she was talked about her upbringing, made it feel a little more like personal. But yeah, I thought it was a good speech.
Okay, Andy, you're also with the UAW. You make cars and trucks for us Americans, so thank you for that, along with the rest of you. Your grade again was?
B+.
And how come B+?
I liked her planning for the middle class. Like, my wife's a nurse. I'm an auto worker. I'm as middle class as you can get. I just felt like she should go a little more in depth, but I guess I understand you can't really go as in depth in these speeches, but a little bit more would have been nice.
So I was actually kind of surprised that universally on the panel, almost everybody on this panel said that they wanted more details from the speech, which normally the reason why a politician doesn't give all these details is because they focus more on evoking some sort of feeling out of the voter as opposed to inundating them with a bunch of details. I think Bernie Sanders has kind of spoiled, especially union voters, which a lot of these are, with details. I mean, when he ran, Bernie is all about policy. So he kind of set the bar on that. So anybody who doesn't quite hit that may seem like they don't have the plans quite set up the way that Bernie Sanders did. That said, in terms of the ability for Kamala Harris to connect and discuss, her upbringing, I think that was an important element in especially bringing in older voters, which Kamala Harris had not really grown support in since the switch from Joe Biden. Joe Biden had a big strength there for obvious reasons, and that was one of the weaknesses that Kamala Harris has had. So I think there was an intention there to try and grab some more of that support. But largely, again, these are undecided voters giving her positive ratings, except for the one guy. I'm going to get to him. I want to focus on him later because there's a clip from there that I will get to. But let's start with, let's continue with the next clip here. This is where they decide, are they going to vote for Kamala Harris or not?
Like I said, none of you were ready to make a commitment to any candidate in November. Please raise your hand right now if you're now ready to make a commitment after today. Wow. I'm just kind of surprised about it. We haven't rehearsed this. I'm going to make that very clear. They will attest to this. 7 of you are now ready. Scott?
Yes, I'm going to vote for Kamala Harris.
Andy?
Yeah, Kamala Harris, yes.
Donna?
Yes, I'm voting for her also.
Sean? Sean?
Yes, Kamala.
Sabrina?
Kamala.
Patrick?
Kamala.
Brian?
Trump.
Trump? And finally, Lindsay?
Still probably not voting.
You don't like either of them.
Nope.
Okay.
What led to you all making a decision? Was it that decisive of an evening, Scott?
Yeah, I really, as I said before, I really liked her confidence. She's really seemed presidential. She seemed very confident. Like I said, she spoke from her heart. I liked how she filled you in on her background, that she struggled, her mother struggled,
All right.
middle-class family.
Donna, you were 50-50
Yeah.
going into the evening. What made you make a decision?
Well, I've been doing research since she was, the nominee, and I like what I'm reading. And here, I've been watching the convention, and her speech was just, that just sold me.
And Brian, you decided on Trump. What about tonight? Because when we met last week, you were undecided. What
Undecided.
about tonight made you decide you were going to vote for Trump?
Her speech was great. I like how she went into personal history again. It was just not moving for me.
But it made you think that Trump's a better candidate than her.
He's here for it. He's a little bit more aggressive. She's aggressive in her way, but I think she'll be aggressive in the next term.
Aggressive about what? That last guy is, in my opinion, so full of crap. I'm going to get to the clip that I didn't show earlier of him to help explain why I think he's full of crap. But before I get there, this is pretty impressive. For one speech to flip these many undecided voters. Now, I have to go back to, it's the likely reason is undecided voters, I would assume, typically don't pay close attention. And here they're finally, they're sitting down watching an entire speech, paying attention and seeing, I guess, from what they're saying here, how capable and relatable Kamala Harris can be compared to somebody like Donald Trump. But this is pretty good news for the Democratic Party. Again, we're talking, 6 people here. But if this is a sentiment that people, that undecideds felt across the board, then it could mean something. But it's also worth noting here, I think people like this, these sorts of voters are very hard to find. The real issue is getting people who do lean Democrat simply off the couch to vote. I think there are very few people who are like between Trump and Kamala Harris. I don't even know how at this point unless you're completely divorced from following this stuff at all, how you could feel in between the two. It's either you're motivated to vote for the party you want to vote for the candidate you want to vote for, or they don't motivate you. That was the issue Joe Biden had, lack of motivation, lack of youth support. And now that has changed dramatically under Kamala Harris. So let me get to that last guy, though. Here, this shows you what I think is the reason why he is a Trump supporter.
And Brian, you're in real estate. You're a nice guy, too, like everyone in this panel, and you gave the only C. How come you gave a C?
She wasn't clear enough on the policies. She did speak a lot of her personal history, which was great, but I still don't feel like she's ready. I feel like more so she should wait. I don't want to, per se, vote for someone that is a backup.
This guy is so ridiculous. Grasping at straws. Oh, she's not clear on the policies. Bro, you're voting for Trump. Oh, not ready. Not ready. I don't want to vote for someone who's a backup. What are you talking about? No, the real answer was the first part there. He works in real estate. That is why he is voting for Trump, which actually is a good indication that maybe Kamala Harris is going to be much, much better on housing than Donald Trump is when the real estate industry doesn't like Kamala Harris. So they should maybe use that a little more and just promote that, the fact that real estate doesn't like her. Because when you have, I'm not sure what he does in real estate. That's not clear. But Kamala Harris has been very vocal about trying to cut down on corporate real estate owners. And if he works in that, well, he has a clear reason, a personal financial reason to want Donald Trump over Kamala Harris. Like this idea, she's not ready. Like what? That has to be one of the dumbest possible reasons to not support. I think there are legitimate criticisms you can make of Kamala Harris. We did last night during that speech. I streamed it live here. The foreign policy section. My God, there was some insane stuff said during that. Oh, we're gonna have the most lethal military. Like, are you okay? Really? Did you have to go there? Just some extreme shit that did not need to be said. But again, these attempts at trying to appeal to, I guess, Republicans or conservative voters that think she's not strong enough. Anyways, putting that aside, this is not a reason to not support her. Not being ready. What are you talking about? Yet a real estate mogul who puts his name on shit and hosted a Celebrity Apprentice. That's the guy who's ready after he showed you 4 years of disaster. That's the guy that's ready. Ridiculous. No, it's personal financial reasons. That is why. That's my opinion. But come on. Right. Anyways, let me know in the comments below what you thought of Kamala Harris's speech last night. And if there are any undecided voters in your life that maybe you've spoken to and they have come to a decision since that speech.